Donald Trump, as we talk about on a regular basis, is bad in many ways, okay? He's a threat to democracy, very prominently. He's attempted in the past to block the peaceful transfer of power, the first president in the history of the United States to just try to throw out the election results and hold on to power through schemes like the fake elector scheme, getting together fraudulent electors and trying to assert those as the lawful ones, using the vice president and pressuring local officials to engage in fraud on Trump's behalf. And then when all the different schemes didn't work, he incited a mob to attack the Capitol to block the certification of the election. And he is currently running on a platform of retribution, saying he's going to lock up his political opponents. He called for the termination of the Constitution, said the government should come down hard on media outlets he doesn't like, called for or said in times gone by, his former top general, Mark Milley, would be tried for and killed for treason. So, dangerous guy, okay? Also, and I think it's easy to forget because of everything I just said and everything we talk about on a daily basis, it's easy to forget that he's also really creepy. Does that make sense? Just a creepy, low character guy. And a video or an ad from MeidasTouch helped to remind us of that. Credit to MeidasTouch. Take a look at this.
A lot of really creepy statements, actions for sure, but statements that he's made in the past that make me very uncomfortable, certainly as a mother, but as a person who breathes air.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
Really creepy statements.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop it! You know what? You are sick.
Yeah. It makes me very uncomfortable that he would look at certain other Americans the way he apparently has in the past.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon?
She's got Marlon's legs.
Creepy.
We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
He's definitely not a typical father.
Creepy.
So again, it's so important that we talk about and make very known to people the way that Trump would shake or destroy the foundation of American democracy in a second term, the plans he has for a second term, invoking the Insurrection Act to crush demonstrations against him. And also, let's point to, for people, moments like that and say, really? That's the president you want? A low character creep? And guys, he's a civilly liable rapist. A jury found him to be liable for what the judge later clarified to be rape. The technical term was sexual abuse, but rape is what we refer to that as. And that's what Trump was found liable for. Just nobody talks about it seems, anymore, or at least not enough. And the party of family values, that's their guy, who said all the things that you just heard in that video, and again, was determined by a jury to be liable for rape. That's their guy. So it's important to circle back to that. Let's, while we're on the subject of Trump, talk about a couple other things. Here's this from Forbes. The months-long civil trial accusing former President Donald Trump and his company of fraud wrapped up on Thursday, leaving it up to Judge Arthur Engoron to determine whether Trump and his associates knowingly misstated the value of their assets for personal gain and what punishments the ex-president could face if he did, including forking $370 million over to the New York government. And also, interestingly, the article notes James also wants the court to bar Trump, Weisselberg, and McConney from serving in the real estate industry in New York or leading any New York-based company for life, and for Eric and Donald Trump Jr. to be barred from the industry and leading companies in New York for 5 years. So that could be a part of this determination. And after closing arguments, the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, who brought this case against Trump, spoke outside of the court and had some words for Trump. Take a look.
This is our last day in our case against Donald Trump for persistent and repeated fraud, illegality. This case has never been about politics or personal vendetta or about name calling. This case is about the facts and the law. And Mr. Donald Trump violated the law. And as you know, the judge has already found that he, in fact, violated the law for repeated fraud over a period of years. And so I want everyone to know that the personal attacks really don't bother me. The fact is that this trial has shown, and we have produced evidence about the scope, the scale, the depth, the breadth of the illegality, the fraud that impersonally enriched Donald Trump and his family. I want to thank the judge. I want to thank my team. I even want to thank opposing counsel. But at the end of the day, the point is simple. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how rich you are, that no one is above the law, and that the law applies to all of us equally and fairly. I trust that justice will be done, and I'm confident in that. And I'm extremely proud of the case that we put on.
When she says that nobody is above the law, that used to be something we all go, yeah, absolutely. Right on. But now a portion of the country goes, unless it's Trump. And we found that to be the case when Trump's lawyers argued in a court of law in front of 3 judges that the president should be immune from prosecution if they're not impeached and convicted, even if they ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate their political opponent. So yes, they genuinely believe Trump should be above the law. And one other just little piece of Trump news that's unfortunate for Trump, fortunate for us. ABC News reports a New York judge ordered Donald Trump to pay the New York Times $392,638 in legal fees Friday following the former president's failed lawsuit against the newspaper because of its frivolous nature. In 2021, Trump sued his niece, Mary Trump, the New York Times, and 3 of its reporters over an alleged breach of a confidentiality agreement related to his tax records. Trump alleged that the reporters were motivated by a personal vendetta when they engaged in a insidious plot to get his personal tax records. And that was not an argument that worked in a court of law. So there we go. Trump loses again on that front. And again, don't forget, as MeidasTouch pointed out, creepy man, that Donald Trump. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel.